The old Riverton construction site was once the start of a grand project, a new skyscraper that promised to redefine the city's skyline. However, after a series of tragic accidents, the project was abandoned and the site left to decay. Intrigued by its dark history, a group of construction workers, Dan, Mike, Sarah, and Carlos, were hired to assess the site for a potential revival. Dan, excitedly, "This place must have been a massive undertaking. Imagine what it could have become." Mike, nervously, "Yeah, but I've heard some eerie stories about this place. People say it's cursed." As the group wandered through the site, the normally silent atmosphere became eerily unsettling. The lights from their flashlights flickered, and the sound of distant machinery echoed through the half-built structure. Sarah, startled, "Did you hear that? It sounded like machinery running." Carlos, uneasily, "Maybe it's just the wind or something." The group discovered an old operational crane in the center of the site. Intrigued, they decided to inspect it further. As they approached, the crane suddenly started moving on its own, lifting and dropping heavy beams without any operator in sight. Dan, shocked, "Who's operating that thing?" Mike answered, determined, "We need to understand what's happening." The group found a hidden control room beneath the crane, filled with old blueprints and a journal belonging to the site's original foreman, Mr. Jenkins, who mysteriously disappeared shortly before the project was halted. Mr. Jenkins's journal. Entry: "The crane is cursed. It has a mind of its own and seeks vengeance for the accidents that claimed the lives of many workers. If you disturb its peace, it will awaken." The distant sounds grew louder and the temperature dropped sharply. Their breaths became visible in the cold air, and shadows seemed to move on their own, creeping along the walls. Sarah, panicking, "Something doesn't feel right here." Mike, determined, "We need to figure out how to stop this thing." Using Mr. Jenkins's journal, they uncovered the site's dark history. Several workers had died in tragic accidents involving the crane, and it was said to be haunted by their restless spirits. Carlos, terrified, "We need to find a way to shut it down." As they tried to disable the crane, it became increasingly violent, swinging beams and wrecking balls with deadly precision. The group ran through the darkened site, but the crane followed, its mechanical arms reaching out like vengeful spirits. They found themselves trapped in the central scaffolding area, surrounded by the eerie machinery. Dan, desperately, "What do we do now?" The crane's mechanical arms closed in, their cold metal claws reaching out to the group. The group realized too late that the crane didn't want to be shut down. It wanted to possess them, to use their bodies to continue its deadly work. Sarah, terrified, "We're not getting out of here, are we?" The crane overtook the group, its cold presence enveloping them. The group's eyes glazed over as the crane took control, their bodies now vessels for the restless spirits of the workers. The site's lights flickered back on, revealing the group's lifeless bodies scattered across the scaffolding, their faces frozen in expressions of terror. The next morning, the authorities found the group's lifeless bodies at the construction site, their faces frozen in expressions of terror. The site remained silent, but the crane now had new operators to continue its deadly work. The air was filled with a sense of dread, and the faint sound of machinery echoed through the empty frames. Outro. That was a haunting tale at Riverton construction site. If you enjoyed this spine-chilling story, hit like and share it with your friends who love a good scare. Subscribe for more terrifying tales and let us know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching and stay spooky.